Hey everybody, welcome back. And for those guys that are new, my name's Brad. I like to help people start or scale medical practices. Today, let's be positive. Let's talk about the things I did right when I grew my practice. Because I feel like some of the vlog posts that I've been posting are like, what's wrong with this and what's wrong with that? Nah, man. Let's talk about the ways I just freaking killed it when I started it up. All right, the number one, which honestly came at a sacrifice of personal life, but I worked my ass off. I mean, I did this pre-kids, which I started off, but I kind of had to. So I started about 9 months before COVID hit my practice. And talk about the worst time possible to start a primary care practice, because once COVID hit, everyone did not want to go to the doctor unless they had COVID. But I was in there. I mean, I was there, started from 8 to 5, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just work through lunch. And then, oh, by the way, when I work through lunch, I can collect that after hours code, extra $25 per visit. I'm going to throw 4 of them in during lunch. That's an extra $100 per day. Okay, that was going. Then I wanted to buy this building. Well, crap, I didn't have 2 years of tax returns at that point in time. So no one wanted to give me a bank loan. Shout out to Truist. Truist gave me a bank loan when no one else would. But Truist was like on my butt. They were like, Brad, we need to see more money. So then I was like, okay. And they just kept ratcheting up. So I was working 12-hour days, no lunch, grinding the hell out of it so that I could just put all this cash down, buy this building or buy this part of this building, and just scale the hell out of my practice and my medical practice. And it exponentially grows. In the very beginning, like those first month or two, you're just sitting around being like, oh my God, did I make a huge mistake? I only saw 3 people today. That's all right. It's all right to have those thoughts. Hell, I had them. I had them for a lot of times. But if you work your butt off, it'll grow. And I think that's just one thing you can't skimp on. You got to work your butt off. And I've never been scared to just go all in. Now that I have 2 kids, it would be harder to do 12-hour days. But I still would work my butt off, be hyper present at work. And I would you got to have it. You got to work your butt off. Definitely not saying you need to do 12-hour days, but if you're going into this thinking you're going to do it part-time, 4 hours, that's maybe possible. If you did what I did and you're like, okay, I'm going to be a hospitalist and I'm going to do it every other week till we get it off the ground. It's temporary. You can do anything temporarily. It's fine, but it can't be your end goal. All right. Number 2, what's the thing that made it just super successful? I networked like freaking crazy. The whole reason I found my space and went into it is there was a general surgeon just like, yo, Brad, what you going to do one day? And he's like, I don't know why he brought it up at that point in time, but I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about switching over to primary care. And, I was like, I interviewed with these guys here in town. I'm thinking about taking one of the jobs. He was like, no, dude, I'm solo. Why don't you go solo? And that conversation really changed the trajectory because I was thinking about it, but everyone was telling me, including the places that I was interviewing with, it's not possible. You can't do it. So not only did I network with him, but my very first hire for that was just an amazing hire after I had 2 bad hires. That physician that I was subleasing from, his wife is an OBGYN who his biller had a daughter that just graduated college and wanted to get into medicine. And he was like, dude, why doesn't she work for you? She's now worked for me for 6 years. 6 freaking years, man. And she's an amazing employee. And not only that, but I've talked so many times about this cardiologist. I went knocking. He's an interventional cardiologist, takes a ton of STEMI call. I just there was a part of me that was like, why am I even meeting with this dude? I'm not even working in the hospital. That was the best thing ever. He gets so many newly diagnosed diabetics that didn't know they were diabetic that had a heart attack that he's like, dude, you need to go to Brad and Brad's going to fix you up, man. He's going to just go. You need him. You need him in your life. He has sent me hundreds of patients. Not only that, but there's other neurologists in town, GI docs in town. I mean, I played Halo with them. I played video games. Hell, I go out to these little indoor playhouses with them. There's something called Cheeky Monkeys and all this other stuff. I take my kids out with them. We go swimming in the pool together. I'm not saying you got to be best friends with them, but dude, I network. And I've just come to realize that the relationships you have, what do they say? Your network is your net worth. It's so eye rolling, but the more I get into it, the more I'm like, yeah, holy crap. That's true. Also, networking has led me to finding Advanced MD. Never found it I didn't even know they existed until someone was like, yo, the EMR sucks in certain ways, but it's amazing in other. Try them. Vendor relationships. I thought I wasn't big enough to get in with Quest Diagnostics. They didn't want to deal with me. But then one of my friends owned another practice in town, an orthopedics practice, and he vouched for me. And then next thing I know, Quest wanted to be in my location. Now it's illegal, obviously, to pay for referrals, but finding good docs, network like crazy. You need to network. You cannot grow your practice just by being an island completely to yourself. Like I've talked about it. There's a psychiatrist here in town. I think you're still following me. Love you to death, man. But you've been practicing here in town, what, 5, 6, 7 years? I didn't know you existed until, you hit me up 3 years into it. And you were like, hey man, do you mind sending referrals my way? didn't even know you existed. I'm like desperate to send people psychiatry referrals. The wait list is so long. Get out there, network, man. Let me know you exist. All right, number 3, I kept costs low. Yeah, now there's some times where I crossed the line into frugal to cheap, where it was just crazy. But part of working my butt off, and part of like the downside of why I left Practice Fusion, is Practice Fusion used to be free, and then they started charging per month. That didn't tick me off. I mean, you got to pay, for good things. But the part that ticked me off is, let's say I had a patient appointment at 8 a.m. on my schedule, but Friday at 6 p.m. after my office closed, they went in and canceled that appointment for Monday morning at 8 a.m. Now, Practice Fusion may have fixed this since then, but if they canceled it, 10 people could go online and be like, yo, I want that 8 a.m. appointment. And the email that they get made it seem like they're good on that time. Now, I did say in there that like we're waiting for the so-and-so's office to approve it. But dude, I can't tell you how many times I'd walk in Monday morning and like 8 a.m. I'd have like 5, 6 people being there being like, yo, I booked this 8 a.m. appointment with Dr. Brad. What the hell? And on one hand, stressed me the hell out. On the other hand, I worked with it. I was like, yo, all 5 of y'all are here. All right, we're going to do your blood work first. We're going to get you checked in. We're going to get your previous stuff. We're going to work on changing your HMO referral over, and I'm going to see you next. And I ended up seeing all 5 of them. Could I do it easily that day? No. Some of them I had to tell them like, come back, lunchtime, something like that. Or I'd be like, hey, actually, I'm sorry this happened, but come back at 10 a.m. and I'll fit you in then. Was it great care? At the end of the day, I gave them great care, but no, I mean, there are definitely better ways to do it. But looking back, I worked my butt off. Practice Fusion, like I turned a negative into a positive. I could have just shut the whole damn thing down and been like, no, I'm not going to accept online bookings. I would have missed out on all those people showing up. I want the stress of being like, holy shit, I have an insane amount of people in my office right now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want that stress. To me, and I'm just talking about me personally, the worst stress is me sitting at my schedule being like, oh my God, I've got 3 people on my schedule today. It'll get better. Everyone goes through that. But that is the stress that I absolutely hate. So I'll lean into that like, yeah, baby, I got 5 people in my waiting room. Same time. Let's go. Let's ride with it. You got to get creative. All right, you come back at 10. You come back at noon. We're going to call your HMO. We're going to do blood work first. And then you come with me. Let's roll. And people were very forgiving. For those of you guys that are following me, I mean, that I've talked about, I literally was drawing blood in the freaking hallway. And a couple people made some comments, but no one ever left because of it. And to this day, people laugh at it. They're like, yeah, I remember when you were drawing blood there. Yeah, man, I did what I had to do. I gave great care. It could have been better in so many ways. But the sad part is that healthcare is so bad right now, not from the physician standpoint, but just the overreaching, like healthcare sucks, man. Good luck. Like if you're anywhere, good luck finding a doctor's appointment sometime soon. The bar is set so low that if you are just personal, give great care and you're available, you're going to succeed. And you work your ass off, you're going to succeed. All right. The next thing that I did is I had growth on my mind. DPC was a huge, huge movement. And I think it's a great movement, but it wasn't for me. Why is it not for me? Because I don't want 2 jobs. Okay. I don't want to own the business and worry about like, did Mr. Tom stop paying me? And what am I going to do if he stops paying me and all this other stuff? And I know DPC is like, yo, we can spend 45 minutes together if you want to. I don't want to spend 45 minutes with every single patient. No, I don't want that. Like, why? To talk about Lipitor or toenail fungus? I made that mistake before. Now, this is B. You probably set up better boundaries. You have your DPC, and it can be done extremely well. I'm not crapping on DPC. Again, this is my journey, my goal. So me saying I don't want to do DPC is negative against DPC in any way. But I went into it knowing, man, I don't want 2 jobs. I want to scale the hell out of this. And I want a business. I want a business that makes me money when I take vacation. And because of at the time me posting this, there's another tragedy that happened in my family. And I just took the last 2 weeks off, man. At the time of making this podcast, it's, I think a day before it's going to go live. I'm just going to throw this one up tomorrow, but it's March 22nd, 2026. I've been off for 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And I want to make a lot of freaking money this month. Still, even though I've been off 2 weeks, because of the system that I set up, I could take those 2 weeks off to deal with the tragedy, to be there for my wife, to be there for my family. And I'm not scared of it. If I had a different setup, then I'd have to find a replacement. I still have to answer phone calls. No, man, I checked out. I'm not there. See you later. Now I'm back tomorrow. I'm all in, baby. But that's what I wanted. I wanted to grow. I want to make money when I'm not there. I want to own a business that makes me money when I'm not seeing patients. That is not transactional. When you are an employee, you are transactional. Every patient you see, every surgery you do, that's how you make your money. It's fine. That's a great way to do it. And especially if you don't want the headache of owning, scaling, and doing everything with your practice. I mean, on the flip side of that is, I don't think there's a lot of people, your average doc, love them all, but the second location that I opened, the doc backed out on me like 2 weeks before we were going to open. I'm paying $7,000, almost $8,000 a month in rent for this location. The doc backed out. I didn't find a doc and replace him for another like 8 or 9 months. So 9 months times $7,500, that was out of my pocket, not making any money on that. Plus, oh, by the way, I had to pay the credentialing team to credential this doc who backed out on me. And then I had to pay another credentialing team to credential the new doc that hopefully wasn't going to back out on me and didn't back out on me. I had to buy the furniture. I had to set everything up. I had to pay for internet and all the other stuff for the utilities, the cleaning, everything to like set the HOA dues, the triple net. Dude, I was like $100,000 in to this second location and the doc backed out on me. I don't think there's a lot of docs that are willing to take that risk because that's a lot of risk. They got a lot of other things on their plate. But I was, and a lot of you guys are. And I'm just here to tell you, like, you're going to take your punches. But I wanted to grow my business. And that's one thing that I was just hell bent on. I was like, I went into it being like, yeah, man, I could lose money. And that's cool because I'm going to plan to make a hell of a lot of money long term. Same thing with this MSO. I've thrown so much money at it that I'm like, yeah, it's either going to make me and everyone who joins potentially a lot of freaking money or it's going to go nowhere. And I'm okay with that. You know, just like Warren Buffett says, which I've said it before, is like, dude, in business, sometimes you step up to the plate, swing the bat once, and you hit 1,000 home runs with one swing of the bat. And I think that's the thing that, like, oh man, I love that. I just love the idea of business. I was hell bent on, I had no standard operating procedures. I had nothing. I created one at a time, one notch at a time. I prioritized. What should I do first to last? I focused on creating that business. I found good talent and overpaid them. Everyone in town is paying their front desk $21 an hour. I average for my front desk at my location, we're averaging now $27 an hour for a front desk employee. When everyone else is paying 21, maybe 22. I do it because they're amazing employees. We don't start there. But once they do great work, hell yeah, I'm going to pay you what you're worth. I want to be paid what I'm worth. Why wouldn't I pay my front desk what I think they're worth? I'm going to overpay them because I want to be overpaid. I want to be overpaid for being the best freaking internal medicine primary care physician. Why shouldn't I ask that for everyone who works for me? Every physician, every PA, NP who works for me. Why? That's the way I do it. All right. That's the way I want to do my practice, build my business. I want to be overpaid and I want other people to do great work and be paid accordingly. Not overpaid, actually. Paid accordingly for their hard work. All right. And then the last one is that I listened to good feedback and I ignored the bad feedback. You cannot build anything meaningful if you react to every single opinion. You've got to have a filter. About me, not about me. About my clinic, not about my clinic. Helping me grow my practice, not helping me grow my practice. I can't tell you how much bad advice I've gotten from patients about, well, I just want to make sure that like you're available. Why can't you make more time spots that are available? Yeah, that's true. I'm not a concierge doc. Okay. I just had a long-term patient fire me because I wasn't available to see her for a runny nose. And I put my foot down. I was like, no, you can see my PA for that cold. Well, no, I only want to see you. I'm not doing it. All right. I've got a bunch of like complicated hospital follow-ups on my schedule. I've got other things. And you know what, by the way, I didn't say this to the patient because I don't need to justify it. A no is a no. No, you can see my PA. Good feedback though is, dude, I can't get through to your phone. Your phones suck. I can't ever get anyone to answer your phone. Okay, let's outsource that. Let's get some VAs, virtual assistants. Let's really focus on sprucing that up and going forward. I mean, I had one patient one time that was complaining about the quality of toilet paper in the bathroom. And I was like, we don't buy like that cheap stuff that's like, basically hurts you to use it. But I was like, at the same time, we're not buying like the super premium stuff. And I thought about it a little bit and I was like, nah, dude, we're buying already the premium stuff from like the commercial distributor. I'm not going and buying like Charmin Soft to put it in there. That's not good feedback. I'm not listening to that. I can't tell you how many people that were like, hey man, you should bring on this or that or the other. You should bring on like a neurologist or something like that. Yeah, okay, maybe long term. But right now, my business vision is I got to get bigger so I can negotiate for better rates, that I can create that business that creates me money whenever I'm not working. And that's what I need to focus on. I need to prioritize those things. I also had other patients that were complaining about like not wanting to pay their co-pays and all this other stuff. Okay, so now I just make it painfully obvious what is an annual, what is not an annual. And then you know what? We still get those complaints. And you know what we tell them? Okay, you don't have to pay your bill. You're just not welcome to come back here. You're terminated. See you later. And I would say probably like 8 out of 10 times they go to a competitor because the competitor is bigger and one of the competitors is associated with a hospital and can bill facility fees. We'll get a message back being like, whoa, that annual physical was like $350 over there. And it was only $150 with you guys. Can I come back? No, sorry, man. Nah, not a good fit. Listen to the good feedback. I mean, sometimes you're going to want to be all over the place. Like there's this guy that I follow on X right now that like, he's trying to figure out how to take Bitcoin for his practice and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, good for you, man. But, you're not busy. Like maybe instead of focusing on Bitcoin, maybe you should focus on marketing. Maybe you should focus on getting busy first. Do you really think accepting Bitcoin is going to flood your practice with stuff? Now you're talking to your lawyer and like he's documenting all this on X, talking about all these things about how he's trying to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment and how insurance is going to deal with that. Good for you. But dude, I went to your schedule and your schedule is wide open. All right. And I think, in my opinion, prioritizing like that's good feedback. I'll add Bitcoin like 5 years from now. But first thing, get your freaking schedule busy. Maybe, in my opinion, I wouldn't have listened to that feedback. I would have been like, yeah, man, Bitcoin would be nice. I'm thinking about it. All right. And when I say that, I'm like, yeah, it's on my like 5 or 10 year plan. But right now, I'm going to get my schedule busy. Look, I've made a lot of mistakes, but these are the big things that I've done right. And the last one is just freaking do it, man. I mean, there's no good time. It's almost like having a kid. There's no perfect time. There's better times than not, but you just got to do it. You just got to jump in, minimize debt, keep your costs low, work your butt off, and just go all in. Network and market the hell out of it. Don't be scared to market yourself. Thank you guys so much for following along. That's how I got to where I'm at today. And even though it's a very sad 2 weeks, it also makes me very happy that I'm able to take time off, be with my family, support my wife, and I still got paid. And I got paid very well for the past 2 weeks. All right. Thank you guys so much for following along. See you all in the next one.